After buying a house, a car, or investing in education, have you given it some thought as to what will happen to your money, your assets, and personal belongings should you die? So there are other vehicles aimed at estate planning, but for this discussion, we will focus on wills as well as trusts. For more on this now, we are joined by Fiduciary Attorney Zola Mbatha in studio. Good morning, Zola. Thank you so much for your time, Ms. Mbatha.
Hi, Buti. It's my absolute pleasure. It's lovely to join you.
It's great to have you. So it's National Wills Month, correct?
Precisely.
And I am told, Uti, wills are just a portion of what we will be talking about today, because this is a broad subject, isn't it?
100%. I fully agree with that. So wills is a branch to a tree that is called estate planning. So you and I, we're talking about wills, the branch, based on the fact that September every year in South Africa is National Wills Month. However, there is a week in September, starting from the 14th to the 20th, where there's actual drafting of wills for free. And that's called Free Wills Week within National Wills Month. Do you understand that?
And I chuckle as we have this chat because so much has been said around wills, particularly when we look at it in the African context, where you'd have someone come out to say that, no, I don't believe in drafting wills because, this would point to something sinister that might happen to me.
Yes.
So just how far are we in terms of disbanding those stigmas to say that it's okay to plan? Yeah.
Look, Kolisi, to be honest with you, I'm having this conversation with you with a sore heart a bit. My heart is sore because of this. So I run legal clinics, right? In relation to teaching people in the communities about wills, estates and trusts. And yesterday I was particularly at another clinic where I met a lady, and she came with documents because she wanted me to have a look at them. And so basically what happened in her case is her father has the RDP house. He got it from his father, so it's a family home. And then the father put it in his name, subsequently got married customarily to another woman. So the father then died, and the woman he married died. The child of the woman that he married, who had never stepped foot in that house, has sold this house now. And the reason for that is the dad died without a will. Firstly, he married incommensurable property by paying lobola, because people don't even understand the consequences of paying lobola, that it's a marriage and it's a marriage incommensurable property. Secondly, his second mistake, he then didn't even do a will, so that at least the half of this RDP house can stay with his daughter. He left it like that. It then made the entire house go from him to his incommensurable property wife, and the child of that incommensurable property wife that's got nothing to do with this family is the one that sold this house. And now this lady has summons. She needs to be out in 30 days. And so this is something that is very, it's very consequential if you don't understand how important a last will and testament is. You can't not know the consequences of your marriage and then go and not know how important it is to do a will. You can't not do both. If people must know both. Because estate planning is a thing that is going on in South Africa. As long as you are within the jurisdiction of the country, you're a South African citizen, and even if you are not a South African citizen, you are bound by the laws of South Africa. And the laws of South Africa are the following. If you do not have a last will and testament, your estate will be administered interstate. It means an act is going to determine who gets your assets. And this is what has happened in this matter. This act has decided that the house, in its entire format, is going to go to a woman, a spouse, a makoti. And then the same act decided that only the children, the biological children of this woman, will inherit. It's no longer even people of the family home. And so that's how important the last will and testament is. It's not just a 2-page document. It's literally something that you use to protect your family and your children after you have died.
Sure, Zola, you've said so much, and we haven't even started with the conversation. We're just barely scraping the surface.
I'm telling you.
Let's just start by also getting an understanding as to what's the difference between a will and a trust.
All right, perfect. So a last will and testament is a document that you use. You basically are writing a letter. After I die, I want the following to happen. I want an executor to represent me. This is the person who's going to take over and put on my shoes immediately after I pass away and they are appointed. They will be able to make decisions that are going according to my will. You then also say, these are my assets and I want my assets to go to this person. This is what a last will and testament does. It's a legal document that does not have to be complex. It can be very simple, which is what is given in Free Wills Week. Simple wills. And then that's what a will is. A trust, on the other hand, is a completely different tool. It's also another branch to the tree that is estate planning. A trust is a tool that is basically, think of it as a whole. It protects your assets. It means you no longer own your assets with your ID number. Your trust and its trust number owns your assets. You relinquish ownership to the trust. This protects your asset from creditors. It protects your assets from people that are fighting over your estates. So it's a wealth protection tool. You can have a trust in a will, but you cannot use a will to determine what happens in a trust, because remember, the trust has its own trust number. It's got its own legal life.
So let's also look at beneficiaries.
Yes.
Is it important, or should a person have conversations with the beneficiaries that for any eventuality, this is what will be happening, or this is something that should not really be discussed?
Look,
because I asked this question because you do actually have people who would ask you that in terms of, I've just came up now with this will, Zola, so what should I do? Should I be engaging my family as to how we're going to navigate this in the eventuality that I pass away in that event? So what happens there?
So the major institutions that do wills in South Africa are banks. And so I want to just quickly insert there, if you're going to be doing your will with the bank, please try and appoint a co-executor, especially if you come from the community, because when you pass away and your estate doesn't have money, they relinquish. They do not administer the estate so that people can keep the family home. So have a co-executor who will take over when the bank renounces. That's the first. Now, the second thing is, with this last will and testament, if you have done it, and you've done it with the bank, for example, it's in a safe. You just need to tell your family which bank you did your will with. But if you are a man or a woman that is open with your family, which is what I advise, you can't have estate planning in private. If you are a man that is open with his family, open communication, and that's a good thing because you're teaching your children how to communicate in the future anyway, you must then say, I have done my will. This is how I have structured my will. Please honor my wishes when I have passed away. Don't be emotional about it. Say, for example, let's use a family home. If you're going to choose one family member to guardian and represent the family in this family home, make everyone else understand. Because if you don't, you know what happens in police. Then when you've passed away, they take each other to court. And when you litigate in an estate, you can only litigate in the high court. And that's already 100,000 Rand expense.
Sure.
So it's a very high cost if you don't communicate with your family, make them understand what you want, so that when you have passed away, they don't fight over your estate. However, the last part is, though, when I was a candidate attorney, I asked my mentor is currently head of master's office in Polokwane, and he's taught me everything I know about estates. And I asked him, why, when I am administering estates, why do the white families have wills and the Indian families have wills, but the colored and the black families, there is absolutely no last will and testament? He laughs and then he says, I can't answer for the colored community as a black man, but I can tell you about the black community. Men think as soon as they do a last will and testament, all of a sudden their family members will become a rosemary clove. They will be killed for their assets. And that is a very bad belief to have, because it stops you from protecting your family just because you're scared of dying. I don't agree with it, and I say it out straight, just as I'm saying it to you here. You're probably thinking, oh, what do I do with this information? It is not correct to think when you do your last will and testament, it means soon you're going to pass away or your family members are going to kill you. What it does is it makes sure that you pass away without a will. If you think like that, you need to get rid of that thinking. It's causing suffering for your family.
And we've seen it on many instances, actually, in most families as well. Exactly.
Yes.
And we're able to relate because you obviously know someone who's been through it all with their families or going through it with their families. 100%. And Zola, you just touched on banks and how they also coming in to assist people who want to draft their wills. Is this a service that is offered usually for free to clients?
Yeah, if you're banking with the bank, you can do a will with the bank.
Yeah.
I'm just advising people, please make sure you have a co-executor and that the bank is not the only executor, because that also has its own issues. If you go into platforms such as Hello Peter and you read there how people, their experience of estate administration from the banks and other institutions. So you must empower yourself. That's the whole point of estate planning. It is to empower yourself while you are living, to protect your estate, but it is more than anything to empower your family once you have passed away. So don't just treat it as a tick box exercise. Oh, I have a will. I mean, at some point they were even selling last wills and testaments at CNA. How do you regulate and give your entire estate in a document that was drafted by someone and there's hundreds of them? That's how specific you must be when you're planning for your estate. You must understand your assets, you must understand your liabilities, you must understand the risks in your family. You must know which is the rakhadi that's going to give your kids problems. So you can put a clause there. No matter what happens, if there's an event that there's going to be litigation or interpretation of my estate, I definitely don't want the rakhadi to take this house from my children. You can use a will to do that, but people don't even know that because they don't even step into the realm of will drafting.
All right, yeah. Zola Mbatha, thank you so much for putting off those fires
I'm telling you.
Thank you so much for this conversation.
Suffering. Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, I wish we had more time to unpack, but time. But thank you so much for popping in and joining us on the agenda this morning. That's, of course, Fiduciary Attorney Zola Mbatha on the importance of wills and family trusts in estate planning.